Okay, everybody, lie down on the floor and keep calm.
Hello everybody and welcome to Supernovae Productions. Our computer has been upgraded from an RTX 1050 Ti to a nice RTX 3060 Ti graphics card, and also equipped with an 850 watt power unit. So now I can finally attempt our first video of our KSP2 series. As the early access release came out on the 24th of February, I jumped in directly, starting fooling around on the 1050 Ti card in the sequel of the original Kerbal Space Program. And last year I trained numerous hours of flying skills, building space stations, satellite constellations and planet bases. So I'm should be ready to go all in on the new KSP2. Yes, I also noticed the Kraken around this early access release, but last night I had only lost my second lander flown by Jebediah, crashing into the moon due to disappearance of some mysterious Delta V. So yeah, before we start flying, let me give you a small introduction to the new game. And here we are in the new menu. We have some access to some buildings available. Not everything is in place yet of this early access, and will follow later. For what I can see now, we have 4 launch pads, 2 runways and 4 landing zones. And to explore this Kerbal system a little bit further, I think it's time to go into the tracking station to see what our destinations looks like now these days. And there you have it. Kerbin, the home sweet home to all Kerbals, and where the most missions will start from, the only habitable planet in the system, and equipped with 2 moons. Which the first one is the moon, and also gonna be our first target for this video. It's incredible what they have done to the landscaping and the details. And let me zoom in here, and oh wow, this is great. This is great. I really can't wait to put down my vehicle here and start building a colony or a small moon city. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. And then we go beyond the moon. There is the second moon, Minmus, and also this one is a lot smaller and icier, and yeah, it still has its ice lake. And the mountains looks a little bit higher than normally in the original game, and it seems to get some craters as well. So then we go to our next first planet into the direction of Kerbal, the star. That's Eve. Eve we know as that big, beautiful, hazy, purple planet with a very dense atmosphere and very less landmass to find to touch down. It looks like Eve got this texturial upgrade, and to be honest, if this is the vanilla, what can we create with the mods in the future? I can't wait to enter that area. Okay, Eve has his own companion. That's Jilly. A potato in orbit. Exactly. Well, yeah, it's small, less gravity, but maybe in the future interesting to use it as a launch base for Interstellar, as you have no gravity at all there. I may have to write that down for later. Okay, then we're going to the most inner planet of the Kerbal system, Moho. Moho is quite a large planet. Never been there in Kerbal, in KSP, regular, and we will make an attempt, I think, in Kerbal 2. That should be possible. I think it's very, it has an inclination, so it's not that easy to sink in its orbit, but it's worth the try. And now we're moving to the outer planets of this Kerbal system. On the fourth planet is June, and you may recognize its color, landscape, and it's some familiar with what we have on the outer side of us as next neighbor. And June also got his moon, Ike named, and low gravity as well, and a little bit look like of the smaller version of our moon. But I need to say, every celestial body up till this far has a very neat texture in comparison with the original game. And then we have Dress. Never visited it in the original game, but for this version they added some rings to it, what makes it now a more desirable destination, I think. So applaud for that. And now we have reached the honeypot, the sixth planet from the star system is Jewel. A big, gassy, giant planet with a whole system around him of 5 moons. And if you build your rockets good enough and have a plan how to land, you can colonize all those places. Let's go to Light, the first moon of Jewel. Light is the only place beyond Kerbin where Kerbals can take off their helmets. It's the only habitable place in the Kerbal system. It's hard to land on land side, as this planet of this moon is almost covered in oceans. And then we have Fall, the second moon of Jewel. It's I think half the size of Light, a little bit smaller, I think, maybe, and it's mostly icy moon. And now we're gonna talk about Tylo. It's a magnet. Not on the visual side, but it's a magnet on the gravitational side. This planet of this moon, the third moon of Jewel, can be in your favor, but mostly in your disfavor, and can cost you a lot of delta V. If you encounter this one, this is the size of Kerbal. Kerbal, you need a rocket to reach this moon and planet Jewel. You need a rocket the size of what you left with to leave this celestial body. Once Tylo slingshotted me out of the Jewel system, straight collision course with the sun, and without any fuel to save the mission. And let's go now to Bob, the fourth moon of the Joule system, and it's looking like a little bit bigger potato than Jilly, but it has taken a massive impact, if I would describe that crater. Then now we go to the fifth and most outer moon of the Joule system, Paul, and this one has some exotic colors. Never been there in the first Kerbal version, but you never know. We can make a mission for this. And after the Joule system we have just one planet left. The most outer planet is Elo, and that rounds up the solar tour of Kerbal, of the Kerbal system. So it's time to get ourselves out there, and the only way to get there is to start building a rocket. So let's start with a medium-sized capsule and some heat shield. Don't forget your parachutes. One main parachute, 2 drag chutes on this one, and then a discoupler, as this capsule will return to Kerbin after his flight. But it's gonna be also a lander, and it's gonna be the taxi. It's gonna be taxiing between the moon base and Kerbal. So we're gonna need some landing legs here, and then I equip my vehicle for electricity with some batteries. I'm gonna put 8 down on this one on each side of the landing leg, and then I'm filling up with some extra monopropellant tanks, 24 of them on the vehicle. And then I realized I had the landing legs and positioned with all the tanks and the batteries in the way of the ladder, and I was obscuring the the way Kerbals could get out of their vehicle, so I had to figure out how to turn it so they would not obstruct the ladder when it extends. So now we can just place the ladder and make sure it's tested, and it looks great. So then I decided to give both vehicles some stabilizers, some ring that is easier to maneuver your vehicle with our RCS. As the top will function as the taxi that will bring Kerbals back and forth from the moon to Kerbin. The lower part is a lander can, and that will be our first moon module living quarter, and that will stay behind, and the plan is build more of them, fly more of them, and put them, land them very close next to each other and create your first moon city. Well, now as I'm repeating the same stuff as I did and placed on the first lander, and doing some solar panels, I would like to take the opportunity to tell you about we are doing more on this channel. We also have a big section for Planet Coaster. I'm the creator of Walk on the Wild Side theme park, and we have a lot of footage for that park as well. Also Coaster Iris is creating some nice things in Planet Coaster as well, you can find here on our channel. And if you like theme parks, we have a lot of theme park footage as well. We have our action cam footage from many roller coasters here in Europe. and some vlogs done with Coaster Iris and Supernova Junior as well. And yeah, some city skylines builds are also to find here on the channel. So yeah, check it out if you have time. Much appreciated. With that out of the way, I started to complete the rocket itself now further, as the both landing stages are almost finished. So the only thing that's left is making sure it has some antennas so it can reach out to each other from the moon to Kerbin. And I will equip the capsule with a smaller antenna that is more aerodynamic for its shape, and the lander, the final moon habitat will get the more sophisticated satellite dish, so they can communicate also with other celestial bodies in the future. Just placed the two of the radial decouplers, 8 of them, so we can attach some boosters to it. We're gonna go for the 4 booster configuration, and they're gonna be liquid fueled. Now we're gonna attach some thrusters to the vehicle in the center core. So we are able in orbit to maneuver a little bit faster. Otherwise I only have the engines that can help me with changing direction. And with those thrusters it goes more rapidly, and that's why I put some extra monopropellant tanks on the rocket. So here you see me finishing the light plan of the landers. I'm gonna put some lights on it so they are more visible in darkness on the surface. It's just helping you, giving you extra markers to try to land as close as possible to them. Also I used force stability fins on the bottom of the rocket. Please use them, it's very wise to do, it makes the thing a lot more stable to fly. And of course, yeah, space tape, the struts. I use a lot of struts, and then also I connect the boosters with the center core tank. And with liquid, with fuel lines, so they will deliver you a totally full mid-core tank when the side boosters are empty and will leave the vehicle by the radial disconnectors. Then my last trick is yeah, the placement of mini solid rocket boosters, very small, and they will make your rocket separate very nice and safe, and bringing the boosters in quite a distance from the rocket very rapidly. So now it's save the vehicle, name your vehicle, give it some description so you can check it easier later if you want to reuse it, or in search for a new rocket that is able to do such things. Picking some Kerbals and up to the launch pad. So now it's time to go to the launch pad. I put Valentine and Bob, the two of them, in the lander can, and Jebediah is in the capsule and will fly the taxi. So we're gonna hit the green go button and click on it, and we are starting the countdown sequence of Kerbal. we have the engine started and lift off. Well, at this point I remember I forgot to thrust down the center core engine to 50% and let the boosters do the most work. And also we have enough delta V left in the center core when the boosters separate. And from here I start to multiply the speed of the original recording, as it took 20 minutes to get this craft in a stable orbit. I'm not gonna let you work through that all. So I speed it up here with a factor of 7 or 8, just to keep it watchable. From the 1,000 meters high altitude, I start to leaning into the east direction to create an orbit. I start here slightly and slowly leaning in, and the idea is to have a 45 degrees inclination when we reach the 25 kilometers altitude. And now we reached about the 6 kilometers height and speed of 5 kilometers per minute. So the rocket is behaving very steady, it's quite controllable. I'm following on the nav ball on your left side. You can see the mark line, the black mark line in the middle. I try to stay stable with, and the rocket is doing pretty well. It needs to be corrected, but it's controllable. Besides the nav ball, also my focus goes now to the moment that we reach the point of 20 kilometers altitude height. At that point we have to get our inclination into 45 degrees or over that point of 45 degrees to make a very nice bow into an orbit. Now with the side boosters almost depleted, we are waiting for the decoupling of the side boosters. Wow! Isn't that beautiful? Wow, okay, so back focusing now to our orbit. Let's throttle the center engine fully up. I decided to do it by just eyeballing it. I'm not gonna use the map to reach orbit. I'm gonna use the periapsis and apiapsis in the left corner down. You can see exactly what the distances are from the surface of the planet on each side of the measurement point. At this moment I'm trying to correct the rocket, as I see at the apoapsis that it's gonna turn out much too high if I don't start to go into an over 100% inclination back to the Kerbin, to the direction of Kerbin, just to come back in the falling around the planet situation, what we want to achieve here. And what we just achieved, yes, we're in orbit. And let's see, we have an orbit of periapsis of a nice 72 kilometers and a not so nice apoapsis of 500 kilometers. Okay, well, we have plenty of fuel, so it doesn't bother at all. But if you was aiming just for a manned mission in just an orbit of Kerbin, you probably have spilled all your fuel to return. But nevertheless, I'm fine with this. As you saw, I was following during our launch into orbit on the navigation ball, the black mid line, and that black midline that kept us in a perfect equatorial plane, what is exactly the same as our moon. So that makes it that I only have to aim for forward or correct with backwards to reach the moon, and I don't have to correct with up and down. So it's the most easy approach. Okay, let's start pulling the prograde error on the maneuver node. So our trajectory and our apoapsis will reach an interception with the moon's orbit. And here we have a direct encounter with the moon itself. So how nice is that? Well, now left is to not forget to put your vessel aiming to the target point. So click the target point button, and then we need to wait our spaceship that has to rotate itself, aiming in the target's direction. And then we wait till the exact moment we hit the maneuver node to start the engine for the burn. I'm going to speed it up by applying some warps to the maneuver node. I kinda like the Kerbal kind head-ups you hear some seconds before you reach your node. And on the countdown to the maneuver node, you can also see now that 1 second is taking about 2.5 seconds in real game time. So yes, still lagging in space, even with an i7 processor and a 3060 series TI graphics card. So can do better, I think. Now the escape burn from Kerbin has started. The blue lines represent our actual orbit, and we need to get to the planet orbit, to the moon, that you can recognize as the yellow line in the map screen. Let's just switch over to the flight screen to see some of the burn itself. And here we find the first bug in this flight of KPS2. I realize here a little late that my moon encounter maneuver just disappeared, because I switched between the flight screen and map screen. Now, but okay, I proceed to burn for a little longer, and we will set correction maneuver node to correct this mess the Kraken has got me into. Now here we go again, and hopefully for a better solution and maneuver node now. So again, trying to find a very good encounter with the moon, and then start to burn. And then I overshoot. Okay, well, I'm pretty fine with what is the outcome now, so we're gonna leave it here. We're going up to the moon. And there we go. Wow, isn't it beautiful? Yep, there's the moon. And that's the way we are going. So switching over to the map, and you can see a small bubble around the moon that is indicating its influence on the gravity. So if you're inside that bubble and you see also the exact entry points and entry point and exit point is also showing already, so that's a little bit different than Kerbal 1. I'm not sure about if it's helping or not, but and there we're in. Yes, we are now in the influence sphere of the moon's gravity. So we're going to pick the periapsis of. Is it the yeah? It's the periapsis, and we're gonna brake. We are going to put our vehicle in an retrograde position, and we're going to try to lose as much as velocity as we can do, so the moon gravity will keep us in a nice orbit around it, and then we are going to find our way lowering our orbit till we have a good point of distance from the surface to attempt a moon landing. But yeah, now first gonna speed a little bit up to the periapsis, and now we're going to start to burn retrograde, and we're gonna see how long it takes till we have find ourselves an orbit around the moon. So you see our blue trajectory line is slowly moving as long as I keep burning retrograde. And now we at the point of having an orbit around the moon. Hooray! And now it's time to create a maneuver node. And there I'm gonna make it, try to make it as perfectly circularized orbit possible. And then we speed up, and we're going to make the burn. Yeah, I'm paying attention. Well, you see again our orbit is perfectly matching up with the maneuver node. So, well, it's time to say goodbye to our rocket, and our taxi and lander can will continue the trip from this point. But wow, what a view! What a view! So yeah, I'm turning the vehicle so they can separate safely and not run into each other. And here you see it has been done. So activating some solar panels. We gonna need all the electricity we can get. And then it's time to separate the lander can from the taxi. So Valentina and Bob will say goodbye to Jebediah. Well, up they go. Oh no, down they go. So you can hear a little bit change of music as we start our descent to the moon surface. What I've been told and on other videos, I understood that every celestial body has his own soundtrack. So that's quite cool. So this is apparently the one for the moon. So I have already picked the spot on just over the edge of the crater, just next to it, to land our new home, our new moon base. So now I'm gonna put all the prograde speed out of our movement, so I practically go to 0 and then just point retrograde and let it fall slowly down in almost a direct line, a straight line down. Because if you have too much sideways movement and you touch down, you are going to tumble over. And this is how I make sure that there is not a lot of horizontal velocity there at the moment we are touching down. So you see me also give some burns with some paths between it. I actually start burning when it's going over 100 meters per second speed, and if we going closer, the more I will have to burn retrograde to keep it under 10 meters per second on the moment of touchdown. That should be enough to survive the impact. As you see, we are still coming in quite hard. Now it's almost 600 meters. There's not a lot of texture here on this part of the moon. I am a little bit afraid of, but below 100, and oh, this is hard. Okay. Wow. I have seen things exploding on less harder impacts, but okay. We are here. We can set up our camp. So, solar panels out by page. And, well, let's extend the ladder and let's have them to plant their flag. So let's see who we're gonna take out first. Val. And there she comes. Boink. A little bit clipping of the terrain, but setting her first steps on the moon. Well, let's get Bob out of there as well. Yeah. Also making his first steps. Well, make a nice pose. Yes. Plant the flag. The first moon holiday, eh? And they're taking their space camper on a trip to the moon. So there is it, there's the flag, nice shot for the thumbnail. And now let's see what Jebediah is doing, because he's still there in orbit. And back with Jebediah. First thing I noticed, I lost a lot of delta V. There is a bug, and it seems that instead of taking delta V from one stage only, it seemed it took from all the stages combined. So with this vehicle as the upper stage has been tanked almost dry by every previous stage. And if I make the calculations correct, this is a lost case. So I'm trying to save this this ascent, to save Jebediah, but I almost certainly know that it's for no reason at all. But sometimes you can just only bounce on a lag, or only the lag or the engine brakes, but the cockpit stays alive. So we are aiming for this kind of outcome. But yeah, as you see, we are just 180 meters per second, with a velocity, with a height of 2 kilometers, and delta V for 99 seconds. And that's completed now, and here we end our video with an explosion. So that's about it for my first Kerbal 2 video. If you are if you're looking around on our channel, we also making a lot of theme park related footage with roller coaster on rides, off rides, vlogs. Coaster Iris and Supernovae Junior are joining me with those videos. So yeah, take a look around. We have plenty of on-ride with action cam, and if you just like more into the gaming, we also have a lot of Planet Coaster creations here on this channel. As I told earlier, I'm the creator of Walk on the Wild Side theme park. A park with a lot of big roller coasters, well tamed, and yeah, put a lot of time in it. It's already 6 years in progress, so it would honor me if you take a look into that. So yeah, I hope you liked our first episode of Kerbal 2, and yeah, next flight I hope to reach Minmus, so stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment.